Hi, this is Juha from NouxCloud and this video is about release notes July 2025. And as usual, please remember that the things I will show now, they are not necessarily available to all users, but they depend on your subscription level and configuration. Right, so here's what we have this time. Let's start with the new central app features. First is the time range slider. It is a dashboard feature. So let me go there. Uh, well, here you can see our normal dashboard and normal time range or something that is selected. So what I can do here is that I will add a panel called time range slider like this. I will just save it quickly like this, and now you can see here that there's a new panel, and you can see that the timestamps are now this time range that has been selected here, which means that if I want to slide this here, you can see that the panels, especially with the graph panel, you can see that it starts living accordingly. Of course all these other panels too, but it's just most easily to be seen in the graph panel. This means that you can use this kind of slider and monitor a bit that what's happening in the graph, or like the whole thing, rather like this. So you can see here that okay, what happens when we start going through the time range. And if you have something selected, then you can reset filter, so to back to this 6 hours if you click this one like this. Okay, that is the time range slider, so new panel type. And then some more graphic features. Setting time range by zoom. We have had this in certain panels already before. Let me actually delete this one here. It means that here if we go to a certain graphical panel and then under settings we enable zoom, means that we get this kind of a view, that we can zoom also here a bit, that panel by panel, that what do we want to take a closer look. The problem with this one has been, or the challenge has been, that it applies only to this one. But let's now assume that okay, this is now the time range that we are interested in. By clicking this one, it makes it so that all the other panels are also following now this one. And this has been, like I said, it has been previously also available with some panels, but now especially the binary graph panel has this one, so it makes it easier to monitor the all of these kind of things. Okay, let me take the zoom out, or rather off, disable it. Right, then moving on, data deletion. Okay, this is interesting, and of course very also dangerous feature. So once every time you start deleting data, you need to be uh, very sure of yourself, or very well thought that what are you doing there. Uh, uh, and I have here that node or explorer. I will explain now why. Perhaps you remember we have had earlier, if you want to delete something, there's this time series explorer. So here I could select a certain node and certain variable here, and you can see that okay, now I'm looking this kind of stuff. So here it was possible, and it is still possible, to delete this part of the data from this node, from this time range. So it's very specific, but this does not delete the whole node. Previously we have had a possibility, let's take a look at this same node here, to delete this whole node, which means that it will take all these variables with it. but previously there has not been a possibility to delete only one variable like totally, not by time range. But now it is possible. If I open, for example, this temperature one, uh, here now I can press delete, and I will, because I know that now it will ask. You need to confirm that you really want to delete this data. So we have built this kind of a fail safes that it's very difficult to accidentally delete data, because you always need to think twice, and perhaps even one more on top of that, one more time on top of that, that do you really want to delete the data. So here you need to actually type delete here and then click this one, so it will then delete this whole variable, all its data. Okay. Then alarms and heartbeat. This is also interesting and useful feature. Let's go back to nodes, and actually let's just select this one, and then certain alarm limits. As you remember, we can this is one way of setting alarm limits here, or alarms, how they are triggered. We have added this heartbeat here, and here you can see that, okay, you can create a message, what it sends, but also timeout. uh, Perhaps you remember previously that we have been talking about this, that it would be very important that you have some kind of monitoring, that when is your edge or online or offline. But unfortunately we cannot develop any default features there, such that, okay, it always sends an alert if it has been offline for 10 minutes or something like this. The reason being that our we have many customers, and all of these have a bit different requirement for this, because some devices need to be online like all the time, and then for example, if it's a mining device, or it's on a ship, then it's totally fine. For example, mining device, when it goes underground, that it can be there for a whole day, and it doesn't it's offline on purpose. And same goes with ship, that it can be offline for a week on purpose, and then when it comes to harbor, then it handles the buffered data. So therefore we cannot build some generic feature that, okay, everybody is always 10 minutes or something like this. But this allows you to create what kind of monitoring you want. So this means that if I now write here, let's say 10 seconds, it means that if any data to this node does not appear in 10 seconds, it will create an alarm. So here you can then decide that what is the time limit that you want to have this. And of course you know that if you have set this up to be like 10 seconds, and then it's not doing it every 10 seconds, then perhaps you know that something is not right. But anyway, this way you can now create monitoring, that how often certain nodes should get data, and if not, then get alarm out of it. Okay, moving on to data flows. There we have a string configurator. Let's go there. Let me open, for example, here we have, based on our simulation data, a alert, and here you can see that we have also some other block types that are sending messages. So the string configurator means there's always some kind of message in these, but it has been very, let's say, it's not very flexible. Like you can see here, it just says something. But what if you want to input some numbers or some data to also to this message? Because this is not very, you would need to know that, okay, we have set this up so that every time temperature, this one goes over this 40, then we get an alert. And even this is not very illustrative text in that sense, because this is just a test. But what we can do now is we can add some inputs here. Let's add one input, and let's take this same temperature to here, that is sort of in the if block also. This means now that I can refer to this input, this first one, something like this, that if syntax is like this. So I could create this kind of a message now based on this input. So what would happen now that this is the limit is 40. So if temperature is 45, it will create an alert that sends a message that do some troubleshooting, temperature 45 is too high. Or then if the temperature is 50, it would say that temperature 50 is too high. This way you can include some data to these messages already by adding these inputs and then referring them according to this syntax. Right, let's go back to other data flows. And the next data flow feature is this custom block debugging. It basically means it's a helper tool that if you have something wrong with the data flow, you get some kind of notification that everything is not okay. Let me show an example. Here's this kind of API polling interval data flow. So I will now on purpose manipulate this so that it does not make any sense. So I removed one block, and this debug log normally would give us some kind of the end result here. But now let me run this once, and we get this kind of a error message or notification. As you can see that we don't get anything out of this debug log, so something happens here, and this should help you a little that okay, where to troubleshoot, where is the problem, like here, this input expected to have something totally other than it now got. Right, let's not save this so we don't accidentally ruin this data flow. Then validity date. What is this about? This is not this does not apply many users or many customers, but especially if there's some kind of a temporary phase like testing or something like this, validity date of the system is shown. Or if you are buying, like, let's say well, annual licenses or something like that, it might come up. How it works is that it's shown. Let me show from another system a bit. So I will jump now to this kind of a screen. So here you can see I'm under settings and companies and company. Here's this validity date, and this is, like I said, this is for the situations if you actually have an expiration date, for example, that you have agreed to I don't know, testing period or something like that. So not many of our, let's say, regular permanent SaaS customers this does not apply to, but for your information, that if you see this, it means that there's something is agreed, and unless of course before this date arrives, you will lose access to the system. So if our contract expires or something like that, this is what it means. Okay, and then moving on, I can actually even close this one. For the new Edge features, that was all the new central application features, new Edge application features. Let's start with the device scanner, and for that I will again jump to another system. Okay, let's go to system that has a bit more edges available. I'm now under gateways, and there this kind of tab. And what is the purpose of this kind of view and this device scanner? What it means? It basically means that for cybersecurity reasons, it might be a good idea that if you could scan what kind of devices are connected to the network. Our Edge makes it possible to see what other devices are there, as long as the certain they have certain features so that we can see them. But basically, then we can get the IP addresses and perhaps some other data there, and we can scan automatically, or we can manually trigger here the scanning to see that if there are some other devices. We can set here that do we get some kind of alerts, for example, that if there's a new device or a known device offline, or you can click here that if something is known or not. So the idea is that if there's a totally new device, then you can know that, okay, hey, this should not belong to this network. So basically, the networks where our edge is, it can scan the other devices that are there, and perhaps get some other data then, like firmwares and stuff like that. This is what I'm now showing. It's a nice feature, but it's mostly like a mock-up, so that you can it's nice to see these. But if you really want to use this or this kind of data, then we also, in the data collectors, we have this SNMP collector currently, meaning that here, based on these OIDs, you could get certain kind of data and collect the data so it appears to nodes, and then there you can either create dashboards or create integrations and alerts or whatnot. So that is the like the full-blown way of using this, assuming of course that the devices have these enabled, these SNMPs, that they can be used. Okay, jumping back to another system and then talking about OPC UA replay. Again, perhaps you remember we have earlier been talking, or we released this replay function on the central app side, meaning that here you could data that was collected to our databases, you could create an OPC UA server and sort of start casting the data. So it replayed the once collected data, and the idea is that you can collect, for example, connect your simulation model to this data then. So you're basically replaying real data from the machine, with obvious benefits. Now the problem with the approach of having it in the central application is that there will be network lag. Simulation models are often local, and the frequency, or the data frequency needs to be high. So the network is always causing lag when they are in different places. Then our solution for that was to develop this same feature also to the gateways, to the edge, which means that you can if you have a local simulation model, you can to the same environment, same local environment, put this edge and start running the data here. You can see here it basically looks very similar as the central app one. So you need to well actually here, if you're running the data that is also collected from this same gateway, you can use this to bring the same OPCU structure that you already have in some gateway. But otherwise the method goes like this, that or anyways the method goes like this, that this edge is now taking the data from the database, buffering it, and then starts running it. So this way we can get rid of the network lag. But otherwise you need to set it up as normally. So first the series or the variable that you have been actually collecting, let's take for example this one. So this is sort of the source, and then this would be the target, that let's create this kind of a variable. Well, now you can see that I only selected one option here, and certain ports and everything. Let me save this. So what this would now do is that it would take a certain amount of data and run this, publish it in OPC UA server on the edge. So if I now click start, you can see that, well, first it loaded. This is the loading part where now it's running the buffered data instead of running it live. So that loading part can of course take some time, but once it's running, it can be then, well, that kind of lag is now not relevant anymore. So this is now running until I stop it or start again. Okay, so this is the OPC UA replay function on the edge. And then still regarding edge, some API stuff. Previously we released this file sharing options, or we are now supporting FTP and SMB. We have added some documentation to the API. Just a sec, I'll show it to you here. So in our Swagger, you can see it here that now we have some these kind of features also here in the API or documentations. This means that this is how you locally run it. So if you need to, for example, with your HMI panel and URL requests, control these shares, FTP and SMB share, you can see here that you need to select the one that you have already set up earlier. So this has been added to the API Edge API documentation. All right, and then moving on, let me jump back to the contents list. Then some smaller improvements, not so huge things, but nice anyway. File transfer panel filtering, very closely related to this FTP and SMB things. Let me go to dashboard. Let me actually even start a new one. We have this gateway file transfer panel. The idea is that you can have users that do file transfer on the dashboards, and not all the users who want to move around files need to go to the gateways and do it more or less manually or with that user interface, but you can do this gateway file transfer panel. This is the part where you select the file from our virtual file system, and this is the part where you select this gateway. And previously it wasn't so easy to filter this out, but let's say that there was many that users could see. Of course, there are other permissions controlling that, but anyway, but now it's possible here to select this kind of allowed gateways to this panel, that what it can even access. So and well, I only have now one here, so this doesn't make a lot sense. But if there would be several available, I could filter them and that, okay, only these 3 are actually possible, and then it would be possible to select only those 3 in the drop down menus or here in this view then finally. And this is of course what it looks like then when it's ready. I didn't know there aren't any available gateways, but yeah, but that's what it means. Okay, then dashboard creator indication, meaning that now I created a new dashboard. I didn't save it yet, but if I would, then by default I'm the owner of it, and I can always access it and or make it private. But even if when it's not private, I am the one who is sort of, it's always visible to me, and I can control it regardless of the roles, so to speak. So this has been sometimes confusing because otherwise it's controlled. Let me actually jump to to existing without saving this. So here, for example, if you would need to know that, okay, who made this, even though I can see it because based on my role, who made this. So here, when you are saving or where you are controlling that who can see these, here you could see that, okay, this was the user who created this and during this timestamp. So you will always know that this is then the person or the user who can control this, or who you need to contact if you need to make some edits and you don't have the available permissions yourself. All right, then more dashboard features: data filter panel and function. Data filter, you can use these to filter the data based on some variable values. So let's, for example, take this machine on or off. So has the machine been running or not? And let me add another one also here, another data filter panel. Let's check if it was supposed to be running. So let's just select, for example, this planned operating time, again ones and zeros. So here we have now two filter panels. Previously these were working on OR premises, meaning or based on OR logic, let's put it like that. Meaning that if one of these criteria was met, then it was applied. Now by default they are AND, meaning that when you select something here, which one? Okay, when the let's take that when the machine was running and or was supposed to be running and was running actually. So it's very similar. So both of these rules now apply at the same time instead of only one being applied. The other way around, let's see that if there was the machine running when it was not supposed to. So no. So this means that both of these are met. Machine was supposed to be off, but it was on, and during this time range such a feature was not, or such a situation was not available. So very important to understand if you are using multiple data filter panels in one dashboard, how these operate. Okay, let me again delete these because they are not relevant. And then okay, final thing, raw data exporting. This is something that has been wished or even required from us every once in a while. We have been talking about this also previously, that well, you can see it already here, that these these panels are sort of optimizing what they are showing, but also so you need to control if you want to sort of tell it, no, I want to exactly see like per one second or something like that. And that is because of the time series database that we are using. It's very highly optimized for time series and the size the time series data requires, and that's why it sometimes makes these automatic optimizations also on this side. Now the problem becomes that if you want to export this kind of data, let's go again to the time series explorer without saving anything. Now let's take again some actually let's take this one, again this temperature, and here you can bit control this grouping, or is it showing the last data or whatnot. So here you can already see that if I make it that show it every one second, well, already that was like too much, so it optimizes itself that it doesn't show. But then here is a bit more frequent data. But now how to export this? Previously it was only exporting the optimized data, but now you can control what it actually exports. So there are two options now. Export graph data, so it basically takes this what's it saying here, or sort of showing here that the optimized data, or then you can export the raw data. So as it is in the databases without any kind of optimization. The challenge, of course, is that especially if you have a lot of data, that this can come like let me can I sort of well, that is already too frequent. What about 1 minute? Well, yeah, here you can already see compared to 10 minutes that there are way more data points. We can even see it in the graph, and the data amount is not that big. If we go, if there's even more data, this gets so high that it cannot even show it. And then of course exporting such data might take some resources, and for that reason we have this. This probably will be very fast, but I will click this now, export raw data. Well, you could see here, so it basically divides it into batches. This was such a small thing that it sort of went by very fast. Perhaps you can replay and see how what it showed. But basically, well, 1,400 data points approximately, and it was this fast. So it created this kind of file that I could now download this one here. But it means that if you have more data, like tens of thousands of data points, then it creates these kind of batches that it first prepares, and then finally it tells you that okay, now it's like 100% ready to be downloaded. So it's moving the again, the lag is sort of here, and not so that you would need to yourself divide it into sensible batches that you can even download or export. Let's put it like that. Okay, that was everything for today and this time. Uh, please remember to follow these release notes, and contact us if you have some questions regarding these, especially if you think that your subscription level is not up to date. Okay, thank you.